Today we're going to be doing a passenger peg install on my 2018 Harley Davidson Sportster 48. The method I'm using here does not require you to remove the exhaust like a lot of people do. It takes a little finesse and the right tools, but honestly pretty common tools, and it's really not hard at all. Here's the kit I got off Amazon. It's about 40 bucks right out of the package. It all seems pretty high quality stuff. Both the pegs and the mounting brackets are all metal. Feel nice. I got the hardware it came included with laid out in my own magnetic metal trays already. So you got your bolts and your pins to assemble everything. So we'll go ahead and get started with the install. We're gonna go ahead and start with our left side of the bike here. Our passenger peg is gonna install into these two bolt holes here. So we're gonna use a T50 Torx Bit. You can use a variation, one's on Allen keys. I have mine as a socket set. So I'm gonna use this, take out these two bolts to start. All right, now that those stock Harley bolts are out, we're gonna grab our two bolts that came with the kit and throw a little blue Loctite on them. Blue, not red. Now we're gonna line up our mounting bracket into the same holes. As far as snugness goes, there is specific torque settings. I'm not going to use those. I'm just going to go a little past snug, what feels good. There is Loctite on there as well, so should just hold fine. All right, now for the installation of the peg itself into the mounting bracket. We're going to grab our peg. We're going to grab one of these 4 supplied washers that they give you. They have a slight bend in them. You're going to want to keep that bend arch facing up and that flat side towards the middle of the bike. So you're gonna line it up like that. And you're gonna do your best to keep those lined up, that hole open, while you put it in the middle of this mounting bracket. And once you have those lined up as best you can, grab your pin, slip it through. All right, once that pin goes through, we're gonna grab our little collar here. We're gonna slip it around the back. There's a little groove that it'll catch on there. It's kind of hard to do with your bare hands, so this is where a pair of pliers comes in handy. Get it on there and just tighten it down. All right, once that's on there correctly, it'll lay flush like so, and your peg is installed for this side. All right, now onto the right side of the bike. This side is a little trickier just because of this exhaust pipe being in the way. So the tricky thing is that this Torx bit is so close to the exhaust that it's hard to get anything in there. But the remedy to that is, again, back to this Torx key set. It has T6 through T45. I got it at Lowe's. It was 15 bucks. Not very expensive and extremely helpful, because this key here, it's going to be our T40. We're going to use this one to get in that tight space to loosen up that bolt. Then once we get this rear brake master cylinder just hanging loose, we are actually going to be using that bracket behind it. We're gonna pull that bracket off, and we're gonna use our new bracket here to mount in to that mounting bracket's inlet to mount our new passenger peg. So pretty easy stuff. You just have to have the right tools, and then you don't have to remove the exhaust at all. All right, to start here again, we're gonna use our T40 Torx key here. For this first one, we're gonna start it from the bottom just to break loose the tension there on that. Now that that's broken loose, you can go at it from the top. So the bottom's probably easier. And loosen that guy until it comes out. So then the next issue you're gonna run into with pulling this bolt out here is at some point when it backs out far enough, you're now not gonna be able to get in your Torx key. So from this point, I just took a pair of needle nose and I'm spinning this bolt about a quarter turn at a time until it comes out. And there it is. Now for this front T40 bolt here on the front side of the rear brake master cylinder, you can just slip your T40 key back in to access that one. The only thing is the spot that Harley puts the OEM hose clamp to hold on the heat shield is right in the way. So just use a flathead screwdriver, loosen that guy a little bit, and you can just slide it out of the way. Now we can go ahead and get our T40 in there, break it loose, and then back that screw out. So now that this rear master brake cylinder is loose, because we got both those screws out, it can just come down here and hang loose out of the way down below everything. Now, so once we pulled that off, did realize here, this reveals a size 8 Allen key in the middle holding that mounting bracket on. It's gonna be there is a size 8, as well as there is another one holding on this mounting bracket. So we're gonna have to remove both of those. For that, we're gonna need a size 8 Allen key, which I got here. All right, so I got that size 8 hex key out finally. A little bit of pain. Now on to the back one here. It's a little hard to see, but it's in the back. Okay, so now our whole mounting bracket comes off, and this is what is going to be replaced by this mounting bracket here. We got our new bracket, and we're going to be going through these two holes here with our big thick size 8 Allen key bolt, and that's going to go into here and here. Now that I got those in finger tight, I'm just gonna go ahead and fasten them down. Okay, so now that both of these size 8 hex keys bolts are in and we got our mount secured in there solid, it is time to put in where the T40s came out and mount our rear master brake cylinder back in. You will notice too, at least for my Sportster 48, there's a hole here with inlet threads for a bolt, but actually this piece here has no threads to bolt into. So it's just for a different model, I'm sure. That could mount into a different piece, but at least for the Sportster 48, this will remain blank, does not get a screw in it. Now we're gonna go ahead and hook our rear master brake cylinder back up to that bracket. We're gonna get our T40 bits. I'm gonna change the T40 bits with the size 6 hex key bolts that they give you with the kit. Just probably going to be a little bit easier to get on than the Torx. So
And starting to just finger tight both these on.
All right, we're gonna give them one last crank down tightening. And now our rear master brake cylinder is attached. And then same thing for the insulation on the left peg. You got a peg here. And our washer face down. Put these in. We get our peg here. Feed that through both sides. Now we're gonna get our collar, and I'm gonna slip that on the back. Again, that's a little hard to do with your bare hands, so it is nice to get a pair of pliers to squeeze it on there. All right, cool. So now that's on, and that is it. Slides up, slides down. That's what your right side looks like. Come around to our left. Same thing over here. There is a size 6 bolt here, hex on the end, that we can loosen up and then adjust the angle of our pedal. So I'm gonna make these a little more flat and go ahead and tighten that up there. And that'll be more comfortable for the rider. Same thing on this side. Went ahead and loosened this one already, so you can adjust that angle. Just gonna make it a little more flat here and go ahead and tighten that down. And here's what it's gonna look like